Hey everybody, Sean from Media Assault here, and it's time once again for another movie review. This time I thought I would take a look at 1987's Robocop, starring Peter Weller, Nancy Allen, Dan O'Herlihy, Ronnie Cox, and Kurtwood Smith, among others. I was kind of inspired to see or review this movie because of my recent review of Chappie, which I had compared, at least in part, to Robocop. There are some glaring references, whether they be ripoffs or just a tribute, I don't know, but it was obvious that Chappie was in part inspired by Robocop. And Robocop itself inspired a remake and several sequels and a TV series that came out after this original movie. But the best of all of them is still the original Robocop. And the premise of this film is basically asking what happens if corporate entities took over the police department. And according to Robocop, it opens things up to subversion and mismanagement, and all of that at the expense of innocent lives. So you've got in the near future, I don't think they ever really say when this takes place, but you've got this company called Omni Consumer Products, and they basically own the police force through a company called Security Concepts Incorporated. And Detroit is basically now called Old Detroit, and it's crime-ridden, it's blighted, and Omni Consumer Products wants to come in and build this thing called New Detroit, and they want a new type of police force to patrol and basically eliminate crime in New Detroit. So a man by the name of Jones, who's played by Ronnie Cox, comes up with this idea for a robot called Ed 209. And Ed 209 is a completely robotic police person, if you will. It's a giant robot with very tank-like, but it walks on two legs. It's a bipedal tank, basically. So he decides he's going to present this to the old man, who is the owner of Omni Consumer Products, and there's a meeting that is held, and Ed 209 fails miserably. He kills one of the OCP executives, and this is where a man named Morton, Bob Morton, played by Miguel Ferrer, decides he's going to make a pitch for his police replacement program called the Robocop program. And his idea is that he wants to put the body of a recently deceased police officer into this sort of exoskeleton, and it would combine the best cop with the power of machinery to come up with the ultimate cop, super cop, if you will, or Robocop. That body belongs to Murphy, who is played by Peter Weller, and he is killed in the line of duty while he's chasing this supervillain named Clarence Bodiger. And Clarence Bodiger is played by Kurtwood Smith, who you're probably more familiar with as Red from That 70s Show. He was also in A Time to Kill and Dead Poets Society, but I think most people recognize him as Red from That 70s Show. And he plays a fantastically slimy villain. The one who gets the most credit in this film, or should get the most credit in this film, is Peter Weller, because he has to pull off probably one of the hardest performances in this movie, obviously, and probably in many movies, because he is restrained by this huge, bulky Robocop suit. But yet he is still able to pull off these moves that simultaneously look graceful and powerful. And it's really amazing and a testament to the amount of training and strength that went into this performance. It's absolutely amazing. Of course, you can't talk about a science fiction film without talking about the special effects. And the special effects in Robocop are pretty amazing for their time. You've got a neat combination of stop-motion animation, which is done by Phil Tippett, who is probably best known to fans of the Star Wars franchise for his work in those films. But of course, there's also a lot of credit that needs to be given to the makers of the Robocop suit, and of course Peter Weller for pulling off the performance. Paul Verhoeven, the director, also does a great job of interweaving these commentaries on society with these commercials and newscasts that really paint a bleak picture of the future. It's not quite the apocalyptic vision of the future that you would see in some science fiction films, but it's definitely a lot more bleak than present day. And it's really interesting to see how that is portrayed in the film. Even though the film is graphically violent, it does have a lot to say about the corruption of big business by organized crime, the value of the police department, and humanity itself. While it's far from a perfect film, Robocop shines with an intelligence that the two sequels and the TV series and the remake sorely lack. So if you're going to choose something Robocop related to watch, definitely check out the original first and foremost. I would give Robocop a 9 out of 10. I highly recommend you see it. It's probably one of the best, one of the better science fiction films of recent times. And it makes a damn good action film as well. There you go. That's my review of Robocop. As always, feel free to rate, comment, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take it easy.